We're continuing meditation series number 6 from page 64 in the book Getting to Know Yourself. So here it goes. Taking advantage of the quiet times. What happens, for example, when an average person comes home at the end of the day and discovers there is no one at home when he arrives? His wife has gone out somewhere with the children and the house is perfectly quiet. He finds himself with a quarter of an hour or half an hour free. What will he do? Most likely, he will immediately open the newspaper to see what's new. If there is no news, he will start with the telephone, closing any unfinished business he may have. He does not give himself a moment to sit quietly alone. He has just finished working for 7 or 8 hours. On the way home, he sat in the car and spoke on the phone, and now he has an opportunity for quiet, and he doesn't want it. He has some free, relaxed time, and he doesn't take advantage of it. One of the things that is very hard for us, especially in our generation, is just to learn how to do nothing. Basically, when we are alone or we feel there's nothing to do, we feel automatically depressed or automatically like there's something wrong. I mean, I have to do something. Very few people can just sit and stay quiet and just try to listen to the silence, so to speak. It requires a whole change of personality almost. So if you will ask him about this, he will not understand what he has lost. What did I do wrong? Everything is fine. Did I harm anyone by reading the paper? Did I harm anyone by making a phone call? The opposite. I called a good friend and he was very happy. Why not? Most people have few opportunities to be alone, but Hashem does give us some occasions in life when there is opportunity for peace and quiet. You don't need to use the time for thinking deep thoughts and developing the mind. Rather, you should allow your mind to relax and take a break from the rush of life. And this does not mean to look for a substitute activity. Just relax for a few minutes. Get used to the idea of an environment with nothing in it. No news, no distractions, no activities. Just peace and quiet. At first, this will seem very strange and a big waste of time. Someone who is a little more spiritual will insist and that it is a waste of time if one does not use the 5 minutes to study Torah. This is only partially correct. One who has no peace of mind cannot learn Torah properly. His avodah is not proper. He cannot have real peace in the home, and his Torah and Tefillah are not as they should be. That's why all the rabbis that we have before almost any mitzvah, but especially before prayer or learning Torah, they all had, the Rambam says before prayer you should clear your mind, you should sit down and not start praying until your mind is clear. So there's a need to go back to that alone state and to clear the mind, to disconnect. It's part of divine service. It's not a waste of time. Just stopping and doing nothing and separating from the thoughts or activities is part of Avodat Hashem, of working on oneself to come close to God. And it should be done ideally before any mitzvah. So, okay. To live properly, we must get used to having a calm mind throughout life. This is attained by quieting down life for a few minutes here and there. This is not to say that one should leave his home for a week and isolate himself somewhere. We are only dealing with the short periods that are already present during the day. A person can take the time to calm himself, whether it is a matter of focusing on a single task or a matter of sitting and enjoying a few minutes of quiet. If you haven't tried this, you have no idea of what can be experienced through it. So, but the reason, the person who has tried to do this knows that without exaggeration, he discovers an entirely new sense of self. How does this occur? Because the I, as we explained, has two aspects. One turned outward to other people, and the other turned inward. So if only the part that turns outward is used, then only half of the self is recognized, and a deeper sense less than half. the person's self is completely lacking. So it has to do a lot with introvert, extrovert. We have to be balanced, and that moment of quiet, of being alone with himself, is part of self-esteem. Is part of learning to. There are people who don't. They just can't deal with themselves. Just sometimes because they don't love themselves, or they think low of themselves, or they don't realize that learning about that you can learn about yourself, facing the things you did in life, and that's almost an introspection. One is supposed to, it's part of our Avodat Hashem, working on oneself. You come close to God by going inside you, not outside you. It's I mean the both actually, but inside you, that's where the deepest thing is. You have to know yourself. That's what the book is, getting to know yourself. Okay, so there is a unique part of the self, a state that exists on its own. Most people are unaware of this part of themselves. Not chas v'shalom because they don't want to recognize it, but because of the distractions and pressures of life and the lack of knowledge of its very existence. Right? Again, that's one of the tactics of the Yetzer Hara. Paro did everything to keep us busy, so we don't have time to think, to pray, to reflect. So this is our little inner power inside us. So the goal must be to discover the true I. This is achieved by sitting quietly alone without any specific content for one's thoughts at that time. Just have quiet and be calm. Listening to relaxing music may be helpful. Not modern music with its loud beat, but something peaceful, like classical music. There are tunes that can calm a person so that he can live in a world with inner quiet. Inner quiet is a great treasure that exists inside each person. Yet there is a deeper treasure, which is the revelation of the presence of the Creator within. But this can only occur if we can already experience inner quiet. And it's like this is so deep. It's telling you, you have a soul. You have the conscious mind, which is you in this world, but it's not the real inner you, the deeper you, the spiritual you. And that real you, inner deeper you, is a piece of God. That's where you can connect and speak to God directly. It's very different that the thought of I'm sending a prayer to Hashem, like you're sending an email, I'm praying. It's not like that. God is here with me. I can interact with Him directly here in me through my soul, but I have to feel that. I have to connect to that inner me, that piece of me that has a piece of God in it, so to speak. Hashem does not come with a commotion or with a strong wind, but with a subtle, quiet voice. That's in the prophets. To discover the I, we must reach the state of Kol Demama Daka, the state of alone, quiet, and focus. We are not yet speaking of the world to come. In order to live well in this world, one needs to be relaxed, calm, and thoughtful. So, again, it is telling you that even when you enter the Pardes, when you meditate, when Rabbi Akiva meditate, the prophets meditate, or Yechezkel, when his prophecy, everything was very noisy until he reached the state of quiet, and that's where Hashem was. Hashem was in the quiet. You could ask, why is it so? And I would think that the best answer to that is that the more something is hidden, this is one of the concepts in Kabbalah and Judaism, the more something is hidden, the more it is holy, the more it is precious, the more it is beautiful. That's where Hashem is hidden. The world, we're in a world which is called Olam. Olam comes from the root Elem, and that means hidden. So Hashem is in the hidden things. Something quiet is something hidden, so to speak. It's the same concept. So we have to find Hashem in the hidden, and we have to find Hashem in the noise. And that noise, what's the hidden thing in the noise? It's the quiet, and that's where we're going to find Hashem. All right. It was next time we'll start by page 67.